There's a moment, maybe you've had it, maybe you're in it right now, where your mind says one thing with complete certainty. This is over. Not this is hard, not this will pass, just over. And here's the strange part. That feeling isn't lying to you about the pain. The pain is real, but it's lying to you about the ending, because your mind, in that moment, can only see what's directly in front of it. It's not built to see around corners when it's flooded like that. So it tells you the story it can see, and the story it can see is nothing after this. There's a line worth sitting with. A time will come when you believe everything has ended, and maybe that is exactly where something new begins, not after the ending, not once you've recovered, right there, in the same place, almost like the end and the beginning aren't two different addresses. They're the same room, just seen from two different angles. Think about someone who loses the job that defined them, the title they said out loud at dinners, the identity they built their mornings around. The day it ends, it doesn't feel like a door closing. It feels like the whole building coming down, because for years that job wasn't just what they did. It was proof to themselves that they mattered. So when it's gone, the mind doesn't just grieve a paycheck. It grieves a version of itself it doesn't know how to be without. And in that first month, there is no beginning anywhere in sight. Just silence where a schedule used to be, and a phone that doesn't ring with the same urgency. But talk to that same person 2 years later, and something strange happens. Many of them will tell you, almost embarrassed to admit it, that losing that job was the best thing that ever happened to them. Not because losing it felt good, it didn't, but because it forced open a question they'd spent a decade avoiding. Who am I when nothing is proving it for me? And they only found the answer because the old proof was taken away. Or think of the relationship that ends, the one where you built your sense of safety around someone else's presence. When it ends, it doesn't feel like losing a person. It feels like the floor disappearing because you'd quietly outsourced your sense of being okay to them without ever noticing you'd done it. The nights afterward are the hardest, not because you miss the arguments, but because you miss having somewhere to put your attention that wasn't just yourself. And in that space, the one that feels like the emptiest place you've ever stood, something has to happen that couldn't happen any other way. You have to meet yourself without anyone else translating you. Slowly, without ceremony, people rebuild a relationship with their own company, not because the loss didn't hurt, it did, but because the ending removed the one thing that was letting them avoid ever really knowing themselves. Neither of them saw the beginning while they were inside the ending. That's not because it wasn't there, it's because you can't read the next chapter while you're still crying over the last page. The beginning doesn't announce itself with music and light. It shows up disguised as an ordinary Tuesday, buried inside the very collapse that felt like it would never end. This isn't a call to rush past the pain or perform optimism you don't feel. That would just be another way of not being honest with yourself. What it actually asks of you is smaller and harder. Don't let the certainty of this is the end become a decision. Feel it. Let it be as heavy as it is. But hold, even barely, even with just 2 fingers, the possibility that your mind's current verdict isn't the final one. Not because you're sure something better is coming, just because you can't actually see far enough to be sure it isn't. So if you're in that place right now, where the word over feels less like a feeling and more like a fact, this isn't asking you to believe it's not real. It's just asking you to consider that you might be standing exactly where a beginning is, without the light to see it yet. And sometimes that's enough to stay one more day, just one, to find out what was actually waiting on the other side of what you were sure was the end.